One of these three women may not reveal her face on orders of the United States government. What is your name, please?
My name is Matilda Clark.
What is your name, please?
My name is Matilda Clark.
What is your name, please?
My name is Matilda Clark.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real Matilda Clark, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you, and welcome again to Tell the Truth. What is your name, please?
My name is Polly Bergen.
My name is Ozzie Nelson.
My name is Kitty Carlisle.
And my name is Gardner.
Ozzie, on behalf of all of us, may I say welcome. We're certainly glad to have you with us tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
I hope you enjoy playing our little truth game as much as we always enjoy watching the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet every week.
Well, thank you very much. When I told my wife I was going to be on the panel, she said, "You never know the answers at home. I don't know what makes you think you're going to know that."
Well, see if you know the answers to this one. These three ladies, as you heard, all claim to be Matilda Clark. Now, of course, only one is the real Matilda Clark. The other two have merely assumed her identity, and they are the ones who do not have to stick to the truth. Panel, as you may expect by now, in front of you there is a copy of an affidavit. Will you please follow along with your copies as I read from mine? I, Matilda Clark, am a United States Customs Inspector. I work at the New York airports and piers, meeting incoming planes and ships from overseas. When I am in uniform, I inspect baggage. However, most of the time, I wear street clothes and mingle with the passengers, always on the lookout for smugglers. Because of the nature of my work, I am wearing this veil so that I will not be recognized. Signed, Matilda Clark. All right, panel, as you heard these ladies, they all claim to be Matilda Clark, United States Customs Inspector. Now, of course, only the real Matilda Clark is required to answer any of your questions truthfully. You will each question until you hear this bell, and at the end of the questioning period, you will please cast your votes for the person who, in your opinion, is the real Matilda Clark. And we'll begin tonight's festivities with Gardner. Hi?
Polly, they're wearing the sack dress high this year, aren't they?
Yeah.
Number one, on what street along the Hudson is Pier 99?
Well, Pier 99, we only go as far as Pier 97.
I
That's the
see.
Swedish-American line.
Number two, do you know where Pier 99 is?
Well, we don't go to Pier 99.
Number three?
We don't go to Pier 99.
Number one, who is Judge Paul Rayo?
I don't know.
Would you know number two?
Customs judge.
Number three, what does Nina, Ray O, have to do with the Customs Service?
Nothing.
Number two, would you know?
Nothing.
Polly?
Number one, are there more women smugglers than men?
Well, that's hard to say. I wouldn't say there were, no.
Really, it's about even Steven?
That's right. Sometimes the women smuggle for the men.
Oh, really?
Sometimes they smuggle, pardon me.
All right, Bud. Number two, what's the most unusual object you ever found being smuggled in?
Salami.
A salami? Well, I mean, but why? Do you know? I mean, can't they buy them here?
It's prohibited.
Oh, I see. Number three, how much can you bring in duty-free now from Europe?
$500 worth, providing you have been out of the country more than 12 days.
Ozzie?
Number two, this salami that was smuggled in, did it have marijuana or something else inside the salami?
No, it's prohibited because it's a food product.
No food products at all are allowed to be brought into this country?
Correct.
Number one, what is the usual place that women try to smuggle things?
There's no usual place. They smuggle in the heels of their shoes, their false compartments in their suitcases, or on their persons.
Kitty?
Number one, where do you usually search a suspected smuggler?
All over.
No, I mean, where do you take them to search them?
Oh. Well, when we work the piers, then we take them back aboard ship. But at the international airport, well, then we take them to the locker room.
To the locker room?
Our locker room.
I see. What is the most usual place people smuggle things, number two?
No place.
Unusual place.
Well, I wouldn't say there's any particular place.
There's no unusual place
No
people
unusual.
smuggle anything. Number three.
I'm afraid that's it. It's time to vote, panel. So if you don't mind, will you please, without consultation, mark your ballots? And in so doing, select number 1, number 2, or number 3. Remember that the team of challengers gets $250 for every incorrect vote. All right, Polly, you're all set and waiting, huh? For whom did you vote?
Well, I may kill Gardner because he asked what a name was, and number 2 answered, and I never heard the name, but she answered, so I voted for her.
I see. And what about your vote,
If he
Ozzie?
made it up, I'll be very furious.
Well, I voted for number 2, and I will join in High's dismemberment in case he threw us a curve.
Kitty, how about you?
I voted for number 2. But not purely on that basis. I like number 2's hat best.
All right.
She has a clean-cut face, too, I think.
Distinctive face. Hi, Gardner. Your vote.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but
No,
I voted for number... It was difficult because I think they all have such honest faces. But actually, the mention of the name Paul Rayo being a customs judge did it for me, too, Polly.
Well, there you are. You seem to be the bellwether in this. Right or wrong, we'll find out right now whether you steered them astray or whether you led them down not the primrose path, but to the right answer, as we discover which one of these 3 is the real United States Customs Inspector. So, will the real Matilda Clark please stand up? I'm sorry, Miss Clark can't remove her veil. That is a regulation from the customs, and they have asked that she not be unveiled at all, so that she won't be recognized. But this does not hold true, of course, with the other 2 ladies. So, number 1, would you please raise your veil and tell us who you really are?
My name is Mrs. Bud Collier.
If number 3 is Harriet, tell me now.
Number 3, who are you and what do you do, please?
My name is Tony Webster. I work for the Charles W. Hoyt Advertising Agency. I edit copy for the Old Smuggler Scotch Whiskey.
Well, the panel did mighty well on you 3 ladies tonight. I guess I really led them right this time. And that means, of course, there were no incorrect votes. But in that case, Marlboro gives you $150 so that you don't go away empty-handed. And will you stop on your way out and pick up a carton of Marlboros for each of you? Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having you with us. See you at home. Bye. Challengers, please.
What is your name, please?
My name is Andy Marsala.
What is your name, please?
My name is Andy Marsala.
What is your name, please?
My name is Andy Marsala.
All right, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Andy Marsala, am a high school student and musician. I've been studying music since I was 9 years old. I have my own jazz combination and have written more than 30 jazz compositions. This year, I was selected from among all the young musicians in the country to play at the annual Newport Jazz Festival with the International Youth Band, which is composed of 18 of the outstanding young jazz musicians from 15 different nations. I represent the United States, and at 16, I am the youngest member of the band. Later this month, we will leave for Europe to play at the Brussels World's Fair. Signed, Andy Marsala. All right, panel, we all heard these three young men claim to be Andy Marsala, jazz musician, and we'll begin this cross-examination with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Thank you, Bud. Number one, could you name two outstanding jazz trombonists who record a lot together on...
J and K.
I beg your pardon?
J. Johnson and K. Wyndham.
Number two, who does Joe Williams sing with?
I don't know.
Number three, who does Joe Williams sing with?
Count Basie.
Number one, it says that you have written a lot of compositions and such. Have you ever recorded any of these?
No, I just play them with my band.
Do you record?
Yes, with the high school band that I play with.
I see. What label do you record for, number one?
That was Gardner, I think.
Number two, who do you record for?
Columbia.
Number three, who do you record for?
Columbia.
Ozzie?
Number one, are you familiar with basic chord construction?
Yes.
Suppose you went over to the piano and the chord were F, B flat, D, A flat. What chord would that be?
That would be the F13.
F, B flat, D, F, B flat, D, A flat.
Have me confused.
I want to move on to number two.
Number two, what chord would that be?
I think that would be the F13th.
An F13?
Yes.
Number three, what chord would that be?
B flat 7.
Number...
Kitty?
Number one, where did you study music?
I studied with a private teacher.
What?
Private teacher.
Oh. Number two, what's the difference between jazz and rock and roll?
Jazz is music.
Number three, what's a tacit?
Not to play at all.
Number one, what's a coda?
Coda is a special section of music.
What section?
Usually at the end, and usually you repeat back to the coda.
Hi?
Number one, were you any kin at all to Joe Marsala?
No.
Were you number two?
No, I wasn't.
Number three?
No.
Do you know who Joe Marsala was? Number three?
Yes.
What was he?
Clarinet player.
Uh-huh. Number one, who was known as the father of jazz?
Father of jazz, Paul Whiteman.
Number two, what have the Embers, Birdland, and the Hickory House here in New York in common?
Well, they all feature jazz specialists and jazz players.
Number three, if I said take me to your leader, who would he be?
Paul Desmond.
Paul Desmond?
Mm-hmm.
Is he the leader of your band?
No, but he's my favorite saxophone player.
He's your favorite saxophone player, I see. Number one, what famous personality had a famous jazz band called the Bobcats?
Bobcats? Oh, Bob Crosby.
Polly? Oh, it's all done. We've been right down the whole line here already. I was going through it.
I have
Give me
another
a second
question.
now. I'm sorry, we haven't got time for it. We must proceed to marking our ballots. So, since it's time to vote, will you please select by marking your ballots number one, number two, or number three? All set? All ready, huh? Okay, Polly, for whom this time?
Well, number one, of course, knew J.J. and K, but number three knew Joe Williams, and also he knew I think he knew the chord that he was talking, that Ozzie mentioned. I don't read music myself, so it was a little difficult.
Ozzie?
I voted for number three because it was a B flat 7th chord.
Kitty?
Well, for the same reason, I also thought he had a lot of other very good answers.
And High?
Well, I went along with number three also. But I felt that, aside from having the right answers, when the three boys were standing up there, he was sort of embracing his saxophone affectionately, which a lot of musicians do.
You mean even if they play the drums? Well, anyway, there we have our reasons for the way we voted. Let's find out how right or wrong we are and how right or wrong you are. If you're playing along with us at home, we trust you are. I'm going to ask you three gentlemen, if you will, please, to stand up and take your instruments. All right, now, number one, would you give us first a sample of your musicianship? Number 2, a sample from you, please. All right, number 3, let's have it. I want to tell you, I can say it tonight and mean it so literally because I am too. Panel, you are so hot tonight. In more ways than one. All right, number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Frank Georgiana. I work at Medical Center Pharmacy of Limerick, Long Island.
And number 2, what about you, sir?
My name is Phil Justino, and I'm a junior at the Uniondale High School on Long Island also.
Well, fellas, we thank you very much. Hope you had fun. You might even start a new jazz combo here. And as before, our panel really cleaned up, and there were no incorrect votes. But in that case, as you heard before, Marlboro awards you $150 to be divided among you. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night. Good luck. Now, let's take time out for a good close look at some important news. Challengers, please.
What is your name, please?
My name is Harry Robel.
What is your name, please?
My name is Harry Robel.
What is your name, please?
My name is Harry Robel.
Once more, panel, may I direct your attention to your copies of another affidavit. I, Harry Robel, am a jockey's valet. In the summer, I work at the New Jersey racetracks, and in the winter, at the 3 major tracks in Florida. I'm responsible for the jockey's tack, including the silks and the saddles, and must make sure that my riders are carrying the weight required for each race. I am a former jockey myself. In 1931, my first year as a jockey, I was the leading rider in the country with 1,179 mounts and finished in the money over 500 times. The very next year, I was forced to retire because I could not make the required weight. At the peak of my career, I stood 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighed 100 pounds. Signed, Harry Robel. As before, we have 3 claimants to the same personage. These 3 gentlemen all claim to be Harry Robel. Panel, we'll begin this questioning with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Number 1, where do you work now?
Monmouth Park.
Monmouth. Why couldn't you make the weight number 2 suddenly within a year? Number 2.
Pardon?
You said you couldn't make the weight suddenly within a year. What happened?
Well, because of circumstances, an accident, the beginning of the next year, being laid up at that time.
I see.
And then returning, I couldn't make the necessary weight.
Thank you very much. Number 3, it says here that in 1931, 27 years ago, you were 5 feet 2. How tall are you now?
5'2 and a half.
You sure shut up. Number 1, how much can a jockey bet on a race that he's riding in himself?
A jockey doesn't bet.
He's not allowed to?
No.
At all?
No.
Number 2, how many, I can see you on your way to that bell. Makes me nervous.
Number 2, how tall are you now?
5'7".
And number 1?
6 foot.
6 foot. In other words, you naturally grew from 5'2" to 6 foot from the peak of your career to today?
Yes.
Isn't that sort of a medical miracle? Number 1, what was the nickname that Damon Runyon gave to Earl Sandy?
I don't know.
Number 2, would you know?
I don't know.
Number 3, would you know?
No, I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. Number 3, what famous jockey became quite a noted TV commentator, especially down in Florida?
I wouldn't know that one either.
I don't know.
Number 1, would you know?
Sam Rennick.
Polly?
Number 2, how long is a furlong?
1/8 of a mile.
Oh, thank you. Number 2, does the jockey's weight have to correspond in some way to the weight of the horse? I mean, according to... No, I don't mean that. No, wait a minute. No, I meant if a horse weighs so much, does that mean a jockey has to weigh less or more?
No.
Well, it's plausible.
No, a horse will run around 1,000 pounds, and a jockey will average...
Horses weigh around...
Around 1,000. A jockey will run around 110 pounds.
Well, then why are jockeys allowed to weigh different?
Well, because of the handicaps put on the jockey for a particular race.
I see. Number 3, what is the average weight of a jockey?
Well, he usually weighs about 105 to 110.
105 or 110. Number 1, who won the Kentucky Derby this year, and who owns the horse?
Yeah, the Derby was won by Tim Tam. It was owned by Calumet Farms.
Ozzie?
Number 2, what are the colors of the Ambrose stable?
Ambrose, I believe it's devil red, blue hoop and sleeve, and a blue cap.
Number 3, who is the trainer of the Ambrose stables?
Gene D. Stone.
Number 1, what is a quarter horse?
A quarter horse is a horse that is trained to run a quarter of a mile.
Or one that's drawn and quartered.
Number 2, what is the standard fee for a jockey?
A standard
each mount.
For each mount that he receives?
Yeah, what is the standard fee?
Sorry, I'm going to have to break in here. I was hoping that question would be a short one with a short answer, but it isn't. It's time to vote. And so will you please mark your ballots once again without consultation and select number 1, number 2, or number 3. Oh, Polly's glaring on this one. Are you ready, Polly?
No.
Mark away.
Oh, well, it's...
Come on now, come on. Yesterday was Polly's birthday, ladies and gentlemen. That's why she's so fussed tonight.
Oh,
For whom did you vote?
Thank you. I wish you knew the answer. You could give it to me as a present. I voted for number 2, mainly because I figured number 3, they got Tiny to throw us, but maybe they got him Tiny to throw us because he's the real one. You got the big one to throw us.
And what if he doesn't change even with another birthday?
But anyway.
Ozzie Nelson, your vote, please.
Well, I voted for number 1 because number 2 gave me the colors of the Ambrose stables, and number 3 gave me the trainer, and I just made up the Ambrose stables.
Oh, yeah!
Kitty, for whom did you vote?
I voted for the made-up Ambrose stable.
Okay. And hi, Gardner, what about your choice?
I voted for 3, Bud. I couldn't... able to pick a horse, and I don't see any reason why I should pick a jockey, but that number 1 threw me by being 6 feet tall at this time.
Well, as Kitty said, he shot up. All right, now we have it, our votes, and the way we voted, and the reason we voted that way. Let's all find out now which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real present jockey's valet, former jockey himself. Will the real Harry Robel please stand up? Thank you, Mr. Robel. Number 2, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
George Stern Weiss, now the director of the Journal American Sandlot program, also promotion manager of Cordwell and Company.
Now, before you applaud, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure most of you should remember George Snuffy Stern Weiss, former star second baseman of the New York Yankees. Number 3, what about you?
My name is Phil Catogio. I work at the Hotel Plymouth, West 49th Street. I'm a bellboy.
Oh, I'm sorry there isn't time for any questions, panel. There isn't a minute we have to spare. I wish there were. But as you can see by checking up, there were 3 incorrect votes this time at $250 each for a total of $750 from Marlboro. Stop on the way out, gentlemen, if you will, and pick up your cartons of Marlboros. Thank you very much. Good night and good luck. Now, a reminder from our alternate sponsor. Thank you for being with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you, Ambrose Fables. And please give our best to Harry the boys, will you?
But I will. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
They said their best to you
Thank
and all
you.
the folks.
Next week on our panel will be Tom Ewell is going to join us next week. And panel, good night.
Good night, Bud.
Now, this is Bud Collier saying good night from Marlborough and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
Acts by John Frederick. Miss Bergen gown by Wilma.